We're starting the recording, and I should start sharing my screen. Okay, everybody. Hello and welcome to the April 16th, 2025 Westmarch Board of Directors meeting. Okay, quick thing. I just need to grab the participants list. Officers in attendance. Cinder Hill, do you go by Leon or Lee still? Just want to make sure I have it written down right.
Fun.
Leon, you said? Okay. Is that an Athena I see?
Yeah, it's my work account that comes over. That's all weird.
Okay. Trying to see who else I may have missed. And we have Ryan and Possum. Do you have a name I can record down here?
Um, Hi. Yeah, my fighter name's Possum. Real name is Darcy. Darcy.
Okay. Can I get a last name as well?
Yeah, Gardner. Gardner.
She.
Dner.
Sorry, long
Close.
day. I
Yeah.
was like, how do I spell basic words? Okay. Brian, how do I spell your last name? I always remember it's O-U-L?
Ouellette.
Like Canada, but with ease. Okay. I believe that is everybody here. Perfect. Okay, hello and welcome everybody to our meeting. Item number 0 is reading of the minutes from the last meeting. I'm assuming people want to hear this. So over here on the left, we have the meeting minutes from last month. The first item that we talked about was reading the meeting minutes from the month before that. If you care for those, go back one month in our video recordings. Then we asked the question if the monarch was providing credit for attendance, and they did. Item number 2 was finishing up the FOG final documentation. We reviewed it. We had a discrepancy in money, but it ended up we had more money than we expected, so we decided it was better that way than the other way round. But all receipts have been accounted for, and then we requested that we could do this, potentially faster in the future by utilizing a standard form. Then we talked about the proposed standard budget. We presented the standard budget and ultimately moved it to the Alding. That standard budget can be reviewed as part of the Alding that is available. We had the Westmarch event audit form talking about a way to do this stuff faster for as far as auditing. So we have updated the wiki page, the various other useful documents available for that. And then the plan is to write a corpora amendment for the audit form, which we did not do.
We did do.
We did do. We did do.
Yes,
Okay.
and it passed.
Oh, and it passed. I hadn't heard it state.
Everything passed.
Yep.
Perfect. Oh, it's passed. My apologies on that. Okay, perfect. Even better. We did do it. And it passed. Even better. So that will get uploaded to the corpora as soon as I send the corpora to the Prime Minister. Directors and officers insurance. We looked at a bunch of different options for directors and officers insurance and then ultimately put it to the Alding, which it sounds like also passed. So it sounds like we should actually pursue that option, that item.
Correct, it passed with a 73%.
Perfect. The 501c3 update. We were officially a 501c3 update. Thank you, Milan, for doing all of that work yet again. Ethereal Hollow and Stone Hearth contract updates. At the time, we had only received Ethereal Hollows. We've since received both, so we just have to actually get the BoD to sign them off, but we at least have the contracts back. Then we did a quick reminder on filling out the 2024 taxes and then having an emergency management plan. Milan left the meeting, so we weren't able to discuss that. So that ended up not happening. That concludes the meeting minutes of last month. Are there any questions on said thing? No. Perfect. Shall we move along?
Seconded.
Perfect. Now on to the first question of this meeting. Hey, Monarch, you providing attendance credit?
Yes.
Yay. If everybody will please drop their name and park into the chat and the credit you would like. And we will have our Prime Minister do work. The directors and officers in insurance review. We got the feedback from the April Alding, which was, yes, go do the thing. So this is a item now for the liaison to work with that company for the directors and officers insurance. And I believe the Alding specifically just said that we needed to investigate getting it or doing it. I forget the exact wording on that Alding.
Yeah, I think the wording was to continue investigation and interest or something along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah. So sounds like we have that. We'll then have to go get quotes, and then they'll probably have to go to an Alding to actually fund it. I should take these notes. Alding passed. Need quote. Need a quote, and then put on the future Alding. Is there anything else to discuss kind of about this directors and officers insurance?
Not off the top of my head.
Yay, perfect. Shall we move on to item number 3 then?
Motion to
Seconded.
move on.
Perfect. This is gonna be a quick meeting. Ethereal Hall Insurance contract updates. The answer is I did get it back from Stonehearth. We need to figure out better ways for us to actually do the signing on the BoD level because we're right now trying to pass a digital document around to get everybody to sign it. I might just print these out and bring them with me to Darkshore. That might just be the fastest way to get everybody to sign them.
I think
And
the
then
other way would be like an Adobe sign situation.
yeah, Adobe was weird with a free account, and then we looked at like possibly having to purchase something or something like that, or maybe I'll just go get an Adobe sign for a month and just fund it and just be done with it.
I have an Adobe Sign professional account that I can use.
Oh, or we can just have Milan do work.
Milan, you know you're free, right? You don't have to do this.
I serve because I love to do so.
It's okay, Milan. We'll feed you tonight. It's all good. Another cup of gruel.
Sebastian gave Milan a sock.
Oh God.
Okay. So we were just waiting on us to sign it. We will be working on that over the next month. Is there anything else to continue?
Nope, motion to move on.
Perfect. Moving on. Mailing address. Royce, you asked me to add, quote, mailing address to the meeting minutes. Or to the
So,
meeting.
given that Dragonvale is working towards becoming a kingdom, we, in the next couple years, need to look at moving our mailing address to a different one of those further north. And I haven't talked to Andy to Scoot about it, but
I don't think they're going to complain if we say, hey, we don't need you to pick up our mail anymore.
yeah. And it was brought up by somebody down there. Hey, one, we abuse this person doing this, and two, at some point they're going to become their own kingdom, and we're going to need to move it north anyway. So it's something we need to look at. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, right now with the iPostal, we do have several options. One of them is like we can just spend, I think it's like $2 and just like get the mail forwarded to any other location. I think it's also free to have it picked up at a different location. I'd have to look at the exact.
I don't know that it would be free because it's an actual physical pickup.
Yeah, yeah, okay. But the
I
point
can
that is
actually
the
answer
action
that.
is what?
I apologize. I can actually answer that. It's $2 to have it picked up, each piece of mail, but you have to set the address as to which Staples it goes to, so to speak. If Andy goes to pick it up, it's $2 per piece of mail.
Wow, even just to pick it up. I thought it was free to pick up.
We could just have them digitize it too.
That's also, I think. I mean, let's be real. We are talking about $10 of fees a year on this.
Last
Like,
year was like $4.
yeah, we've already had more mail this year than we had all of last year
Yeah.
because of the 501c3 paperwork. So not only do we just have to move the iPostal address, if we actually physically move the address, we have to update our corporate paperwork.
Yes. So we might just have get the digitize option where they just digitize our mail for us, and then we don't have to update anything, and it goes to Westmarch's email. I mean, that said, we have to update our corporate paperwork all the time anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something to be aware of. I agree with that. I think for now, like if we don't want it physically picked up by Andy, I think part of it was the most recent pieces of mail were all relating to the 501c3, and so we actually wanted like a physical version of that. Um, I think most of the time we'll be able to live with the digital,
Yeah, it
or
was
if
just
we
brought
really
up, and it
today
was
would.
something that I felt needed to be discussed.
Yeah, agreed. Because I also know that they will forward it to another address, and there's like a small processing fee in that. And I think it might also be $2. So then we can just have it forwarded to, whoever's the monarch at the time,
Yeah,
or however that works.
that was all I had. So, unless anybody has anything else, motion to close.
Seconded. Okay, now the most important topic. Dailu's actually here for once to actually get some credit. No.
Right on time and everything.
I gotta say, guys, I've been showing up consistently for the past 3 or 4. Like,
Late.
It was
though.
just the fact that you showed up late by 3 minutes, the 3 or 4 before that.
again, petition the monarch to give me a custom title of like the credit hungry or something. I don't know.
Trust me, I can't give that to you when there are parks out there holding I don't know how many fighter practices a week.
That's true. I guess I could drive to Crimson Wood from the Bay Area and then drive straight down to LA from the Bay
What? You
Area.
can just host a fighter practice every week. You don't have to do that.
I mean, yeah.
Also, I am the opposite of credit hungry. The fighter practice is 2 blocks from my park twice a week, and I have not gone in weeks. Speaking of fighter practice, hi Carl, are you home?
Hi. Yes, I have only gotten home. I'm going to transfer over to my computer so I don't have to hold this phone.
Okay. So item number 5, how many years do we want to average for budgeting purposes on events?
So this came up because last year's fog had a net loss. So when we did the estimate this year, where in years past it had been, okay, we estimated the cost and the revenue based off of the last year. We're not going to estimate a loss. So we need to figure out a better way going forward. Because if there's no reason to estimate a loss on our events. We shouldn't be. We should be at least breaking even.
Can I ask, was it an too few attendees or was it a overspend on materials?
It was
A combination of all of that.
in my opinion, there were less attendees than anticipated.
Well, it was straight up listed. They expected more attendees on their bid
Yes.
form.
Yeah.
And there was significantly less, like 30 or so less, if I remember right.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is they estimated a higher number of attendees than we've like ever had at a Feast of Gods was one of the things because they like linearly interpolated a couple of years. And then they spent accordingly.
And then we had lower kingdom attendance, partially because of the alcohol policy fiasco.
And starting on a Wednesday, and all of
Yes.
these other
And
things.
also so many other compounding factors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there were a lot of small
It
things.
was just a bad year. But it brought up the need to talk about this. We have, like, I would recommend either 3 or 5 years to average it out. The data is available to us. So that's what I would suggest.
Yeah, so
Five
I was
is
gonna
what
say,
my initial thought was.
on the CA amp guard, I'm just trying to quickly pull it up here real fast.
And also, we can't really go off of just a linear 5 years because there was a good 2 year chunk there where we didn't have any sort of attendance. So, do we even take into account years before the pandemic? Because those may be inflated by comparison. Because I know that Westmarch has lost quite a few active players, and some parks have boomed since then as well.
3 to 5 years would put us right at the pandemic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not looking at the ones before, but looking at the recent history would be probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a proposed budget is what we're ultimately talking about here. Like, it's not a hard and fast science, and like, really the purpose is just to say, here's our kind of expected budget for the year, rough order. We're not going to have to do all the item votes for, every little thing. So it gives us just like kind of a baseline operating, Althing approved budget that we can work from. Um, and then if we need more money, we can go back to an Althing.
Yeah.
And then if we don't spend that money, nobody's going to complain.
Yeah. It's just a matter of estimating something to put on the form that's not a loss.
Yeah, I was going to say, because there's also like a, slightly different was like in our event bid template, we actually say something, and it's always last year's attendance and prior year's attendance. And, which kind of makes it interesting because we were just talking about the attendance for the last Feast of Gods. Like, so they do 2 years back on the event bid. Your current projected last year's and the prior years.
Yeah. And like I said, my recommendation would be 3 or 5. It's just a matter of what we want to do. And it's readily available information. We have it because on the second page of the bid form of this, not bid form, of the budgetary form is the actuals for the year we should be putting in.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of figuring out what it should be. And it can be tabled until next month to give people time to think about it.
I mean, I think it's the thing I'm struggling with is, do we actually need to formalize like a number or just say use reasonable estimations from the last few years?
We should formalize a number because if we are ever audited, knock on wood, we aren't, they're going to look at our policies relating to our budgets and how they're determined. It also, if we're looking at stuff when each treasurer comes in, they have, what I consider reasonable might not be what the next person considers reasonable based on experience and judgment. So this way it's standardized every year.
Yeah. So, okay, so then if it is truly something we need, my simple is just let's go 3 years.
Seconded.
Okay. I guess this is BOD and our own accounting practices. Now we are missing 2 BOD members. Do we want to have the vote official and make it all official and then figure out what paperwork to update this month, or do we want to table till next month?
I mean, I don't foresee it not passing either way.
Well, my shit's out there.
Fair enough.
Yo, who isn't muted? Somebody mute their stuff with the background noise going on.
It's me. It's
Yeah,
me
yeah.
with the background noise going
All
on.
right, my apologies.
It's the one who's actually talking. It's just unfortunate. Okay, I mean, we can do a vote now. We have 5 members in attendance. So shall we just go and do a quick roll call vote? Okay, let's start at the top. Jackson, how do you vote?
Yay, or aye. I'm not sure which one we're doing.
Perfect. Leon, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Royce, how do you vote?
Yes.
Carl, how do you vote?
I
I vote aye. Okay, so the vote is 5 yes, 0 no's,
2 absent.
2 absent. Perfect. There we go. We now have officially codified 3 years proposed budget. We will have to update
Somewhere.
There is the BOD handbook.
Yep.
And if there is not, there should be a section on, annual budget.
All right. Motion to close.
Perfect.
Seconded.
Yay. Item number 6. Royce, talk about taxes now.
They're done. We didn't have
Cool.
to pay anything. We still have to do a bunch of back years of California taxes though, because nobody did them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So taxes for 2024 are paid.
Well, I mean,
We
not
had to
paid.
do
They were zero.
California taxes.
Yes, yes, we do.
Oops.
That's why we want to go fill out that 3,500 form, 3,400 form, whatever it was.
It's done. I just need to mail it to somebody.
Okay, we'll Rochambeau for that in a second. Yeah, I think this is actually worthy of like making.
Not paid. They're filed. They didn't cost anything.
All right, filed. Okay, we'll be pedantic.
It matters. There's a difference between filed and paid when it comes to taxes.
True.
Yes,
Like,
but did we also pay all of our
No.
outstanding debts on them?
there was no outstanding debts on them.
Okay, so
no.
we are 0 for 0. It's divide by 0. Perfect.
Also, just to make sure for that last bullet point, do we need to pay taxes or do we still need to file and
We just need to file.
Okay.
They're gonna, given the amount of income we have, they're most likely gonna be zero unless we have to pay the $800 California minimum because we're a corporation.
Yeah.
All right.
And in which case they're also gonna charge us a penalty.
Yeah. And if it comes to that, we'll have to go to an all thing and just be like, hey, by the way, turns out we've been doing it wrong for years. We'll have to go fix
And
this.
figure out who to sacrifice.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that's the update on those.
Well, and then let's talk about the 3,500 form, I believe is what it was, right? 34?
Probably open it up and look.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the exact number and I want to get the
I'm
dates right.
opening Messenger on my phone, so I can 3500A. FTB 3500.
The FTB 3500A form is the California tax exemption form, right?
Yep. It makes us California nonprofit, essentially for tax purposes.
Which is funny because we have an IRS form that already claims that we are tax exempt and can deduct. I don't understand why we need a California one, but
Because
we are.
California charges tax on different things than that state.
Yep.
Got it.
It's kind of like how you have like your,
I'm going to mail 20.
yeah, like you technically have like a federal EIN and like a California one because like they treat them as two different things.
Yeah. It's
capital A.
It's zero. It's zero. Basically, is what it ends up being.
Okay. Let me know how I can help on those back year taxes. Milan, you can send that to me for the 3,500 form, and I can get it processed and handled.
Yeah, I don't care either way. It was just a matter of making a decision. And I was in the process of trying to eat my dinner too.
Yeah, that's what I got home 10 minutes before this meeting, so I was just like doing work. So
also to bring up a message from chat, do we currently have an event audit form?
Yes.
Yes, it got posted last month.
Can that be forwarded to Athena as well?
Okay, yeah, it is on the
CAF
last month meeting notes. It's the Westmarch BoD page. I go to it frequently.
Yeah. Oh, it's on our Amped Wiki page, not on our CA Amp Guard. Okay.
It might actually be on there as well. Event, post event, prior event form. I think it actually links to the CA Amp Guard.
Oh, it's not navigatable on the website at the moment, at least from what I saw, and I could be wrong.
That should get you. That should be the working link. Yes.
Yeah, and it's the event review form. I think that
Yeah.
might be why it's not popping up.
Yeah. If not, I will go find a place to put it.
Yeah, it's not there.
It's not there.
Just go to the online forms right there.
Okay, fine. I will assign it to myself as an action. Where's the event review form? Oh, that was from last month.
The website. If you want me, I can do that right now.
Yeah, or it goes into the document section of the webpage. So it's already on the webpage. I just need to make the link.
All right.
You know what else should have an accessible link on the webpage while we talk about that?
Yeah.
The kingdom's inventory.
So the answer is the region is responsible for that. And so we used to post it Actually, it's saved inside the Google Drive.
Yeah.
Okay, the reason I say this is because knowing what equipment is available when you're planning a feast for an event is incredibly helpful.
Well, the answer is I happen to be the one on that list right now.
Oh, I got it from somebody else. But I had to go hunt for it when I was planning
Who
for the
sent it to you?
Fogman. The Kingdom PM.
Oh, okay, that works. I was gonna say because like there's only like 4 people who have access to that document right now.
Yeah, I was like, what?
You don't know what skills I have.
Yeah, and it has to get updated because something was checked out recently. As soon as I find where I stored that.
My mom says that the inventory is on CAM cards. Again, unless I'm terrible at navigating. Where?
Yeah.
Sorry, I was trying to pull it up because I know I made this document. Okay, it is not in the folder I was expecting it to be in.
Same. I was looking for it.
And I'm not going to open Messenger right this second. So
It's not important at this moment.
yeah. Yeah, because ultimately I filled it out and then sent it over to the regent for the regent to disposition.
Yeah. Just, having that list available is handy when planning for
Yeah,
an event.
I agree. I would love if it was on the webpage. In fact, I would love if it was just a link to the Google Drive on the webpage and we just upload it as like a Google Excel spreadsheet, so it was easy to like see and keep up to date rather than having to download and upload an Excel spreadsheet. But I'm leaving that to the regent. That is their responsibility. I will help them if they ask for help getting it up on the webpage. I will totally do that, but I don't want to step on their toes. And
honestly, the next regent can deal with it.
perfect. Hey, Delu. Oh, dang it, they left. No, they're still here. Okay.
No,
they left
still
and
here.
came back.
I disconnected for a second. What's up?
We're giving you work for the regent job you haven't been awarded yet.
I don't know. I've made a lot of enemies.
Yeah. We're going to ask you to upload an Excel spreadsheet or tell me to do it. But the point is, it's going to be your responsibility to. It's the document that covers all of the equipment the kingdom owns.
Oh yeah, that is a responsibility by Kapora. Cool. Sounds fun.
Yep. Okay. I think we're done with taxes.
Yes.
Any other reason to
Motion
continue talking
closed.
about taxes? Perfect. Darkshore. Hey, Athena.
There. So I am not sure. I have the bid all updated for the most recent information, and I realized I was like, I was not the one who originally shared this with folks. I'm pretty sure this is acceptable, but I don't know. So I can share that again. I can share screen, whatever is better.
I think really what this conversation is just for is, are there any last minute items the Darkshore team needs from the BoD? So sometimes there's like, we have to pay the event site pay down or something like that, or get that arranged, getting insurance handled. But if you've already got all that handled, that's great. But I just wanted to check in to make sure that you didn't need anything from us because, there's that weird thing in Arcapora that technically the BoD is the only group that's allowed to sign contracts.
Got it. So I basically just been, Ita is I handle things with the park guy, and as far as I've heard from him, it's fully reserved and the insurance has already been purchased. But as for the reimbursement, I've been paying for the actual event. I don't think it's been fully paid for the site yet. That's the only thing I'm aware of. So I would have to just, hey, when the money is ready to go over, we're going to bother the PM about, hey, can we have this sent, and then pay that over. And I was hoping he might be able to attend today, but unfortunately he's not available.
Yeah, the reason is I happen to know in the past the park has, you can pay online by credit card, but they charge you like a fee. Now it's like 3%, and we end up paying like $4,000, right? So it's like less than $100 or whatever. I ran the numbers last year. It was less than $100 like processing fee to get it handled. But if you deliver like a check, it's free. But the problem was always getting to the bank, getting a check, getting it mailed over. And they would inevitably send us the bill like 4 days before the event. So it was just difficult for us to get that handled.
I imagine we're going to be doing so online.
Yeah. Okay. So just so you're aware, that's like some stuff we've run into in the past. Um, Out of curiosity, have we gotten any news on the previous problems we've been having with the park?
About the alcohol policy and the bathrooms.
Yes.
Still no word on the bathrooms. Keep asking, and it's just sort of no response on that particular front every time. So at this point, I don't count on the stone bathrooms by the feed hall functioning. It's going to be the RV ones and porta potties as always. And as for the alcohol policy, it's been basically mixed feedback from depending on who we talk to. So at the moment, it's still as posted for the current event website, and it's absolutely no alcohol whatsoever in the child area, the bowl. Alcohol can be served just fine at the feast hall area, and otherwise it's this weird gray area for everywhere else. And it's just that we ask, hey, please don't have this obviously visible. And I know that's not a great policy to have as a whole, but that is the only information that we have because they're going back and forth of, no, you can't have it anywhere other than the feast hall versus, oh, no, it's just the bowl.
Yeah, so the reason that ultimately comes down to is the County of Monterey, if you go read their alcohol policy ordinances, it just says alcohol is not allowed except at these very specific locations. The San Lorenzo Park in general is not one, but the campgrounds are the ones over by the showers. Um, so you're allowed to like have alcohol over there. Then they say like, oh, you can have alcohol anywhere with special approval. The Dianza building and a couple of the buildings in San Lorenzo have that, like, if you rent this building, you can get alcohol in the building. Um, and then the youth area, one of the clarifications that was given to us last year was the youth area is not just the bowl, it was the surrounding grass. That's what they told us last year. Now, maybe that's where the confusion lies, is the person who told us that was wrong.
Yeah,
And according
because
to their own website, the bowl area is literally just the indented zone. And that's the only technical campsite. The rest is like not technically part of the campsite. It's like the surrounding area. And again, unfortunately, just their own maps, from what I see on their site, only highlights where the actual indentation is defined as the Yona Bowl.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that is frustrating.
It sure is. I think I'm gonna have to take over prior to coordinating with the folks because I just I've been asking a lot of the same questions, and I know he's trying, but I'm gonna try as well at this point because even though depending on who we talk to, we get different results. I feel like I just need to get this answer for myself directly as well because I'm really tired of all this. But oh well. Otherwise, the bid is updated. I've updated the website a bit. I'm going to be making more posts this weekend. Otherwise, everything's going pretty smoothly. All the different stewards are putting in good work. Right now, it's just crunch time for various things that we're making, but as usual.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because they list the youth overnight area as this site includes barbecues, tables, electricities, and water, maximum occupancy of 200 people. So like, yeah,
Yeah, I know that there's not really the actual barbecues in the bowl indentation itself. That's in the surrounding areas, along with the park tables and whatnot. But
yeah,
at the
yeah,
moment, we're operating based off of it went okay last time, based on these. We're getting this mixed feedback, but this seems to be the Goldilocks zone. So that's really all that we can operatively work with.
yeah. I mean, mostly it's just we don't want to. For the longest time, we kind of had the County of Monterey just let us do our own thing as long as we weren't problematic, and then we just had that one run in last year with like it was not a security, a park ranger, but what they were is they were actually from a different Monterey County park, and they were like covering that weekend, and so it was unclear if they just misunderstood the policy at this park, or they were the first one to like actually come by and enforce it. And that's what started this whole thing.
We're going to make sure that the security folks, so not just the stewards, but also any people who volunteer, we're going to have kind of basically a written down here is what we were told. You know, if anybody starts to have a problem from, if heaven forbid, we have a visit from some kind of rangers, just to be able to, here's what this is what we paid. We're allowed to be here. This is the information we were given. Don't give us any grief.
Yeah. Yeah, that was actually the really helpful thing that kind of saved our bacon last Darkshore was the document we signed. Somewhere embedded in there was like, oh, we were allowed to have alcohol. But I think it was just listed as like alcohol, but like not open, like no, something like that. And so we were able to be like, oh, well, we have permission to do this thing. And then they were like, okay, fine, just keep it in bags and like whatever. But like it was in the contract that we had signed with the county, and that's why we were able to handle it that way.
Yeah, the
But
only thing that I've heard repeatedly over the years running security there at that site is just that there is no glass allowed in the bowl itself. That is it.
At this time, it's no alcohol whatsoever in the bowl. That's
Yeah.
the latest we've heard. So even if it's like not, oh, don't have a beer bottle, it's also, hey, please don't have the, mixers and the tequila bottles over on the table. Like, please do not have alcohol in the bowl.
Yeah.
And that's why we've designated it now as quiet camp, just to help enforce it, where it's like, look, this is just no longer any kind of party zone. Like, we're just not going to do that anymore. Sorry.
yeah. Sounds good. Okay, I think that covers item 7, unless you have other stuff you want to talk about, Athena.
No, at one point I thought we were doing kind of like a review, which is why I had all the other stuff updated and whatnot. So I shared the link. But you guys
No, that will come after. But
oh yeah, sorry, I meant like pre-review. But yes, indeed, now that I have the audit form, I'm going to be working on some of the basics to fill in now, and that'll be ready for post-event.
perfect. Sounds good.
Just kind of on that same subject relating to Darkshore, if I win the kingdom election with the confidence vote and you take over as treasurer, you won't be the one since you filled out the audit form, you won't be the one who does the post-event audit.
Indeed. And yeah, I'm sorry if I forget if I've responded affirmatively or not, but I can confirm that
Yeah.
I can do that. So that's when would you be changing office again?
At
Darkshore.
Darkshore.
After Darkshore, okay. I should be able to do that. I only have like a wedding after that, shortly after, but then like I'm completely.
I mean, and honestly, I'm willing to help with any of it, like I said. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
We will just get to change the bank accounts yet again.
And
Wells
3
Fargo.
months.
Wells Fargo loves us.
Sacramento Wells Fargo is so good, and I have the lady's card.
nice.
It is helpful that you're both over there. So
Yes.
Indeed, yeah, we're sister parks. We're good.
perfect. Okay. So I think that kind of concludes item number 7. So now we can get into item number 8, which is the fun meat and potatoes. The reason I showed up tonight, the keeping good standing up with California nonprofit reporting requirements. This YouTube video was published by the California Nonprofit Society. They have a lawyer that they hired who gave a lovely, 1-hour talk about everything you need to do to keep major compliance. In fact, I encourage like all future BoD members to go watch this video as well, and all current ones. I did it while washing the dishes.
Motion to put the link in the handbook.
Sure.
Also, can you put it in chat as well so I can copy it over to notes for Bear Bear?
Okay. Can do. Oh, it came with what? Well, okay, no. And I've talked about this in the past. One thing I did is I actually took some notes of the most critical items. So one of the big things they focus on in this presentation is here's like the bare minimum stuff that you need to do, and here are the gotchas that you can easily miss. And we've already found a couple of those, and we're fixing them now. So starting off with federal taxes, there's kind of like, how you every year are filing a 1040. There are multiple forms of 990 available on the federal taxes. Most likely, we will be able to do.
We currently use the N.
The 990N, and we'll probably continue to be able to use the 990N for the next few years at least. Which is like the electronic postcard. It's basically what we've been doing. As long as our gross receipts are less than $50,000. So
And currently, our gross receipts were 24,000 last year.
perfect. So now that we are a 501c3, we might be getting some donations. I'd be surprised if we get $25,000 of donations above and beyond, or if we have like, a really good set of events or something like that. It could happen. We are all hopeful that that happens, but for now, it doesn't look like we're changing our overhead that much on what we need to do. If we do go above that $50,000, we switch over to the 990EZ, which is like a simplified form. And then if we're above $500,000, well, we can hire a tax per person to help us prepare the 990. It'll be great.
I actually know a company that works specifically for that too.
Yep.
Well, they have a division devoted to it. It's Moss Adams.
Nice. Just a few other notes that I pulled out of this was all donations over $5,000, we need to follow a 990 Schedule B. And this is $5,000 in total contributions from a single person, including cash or assets. So if somebody like donated a car, like we have to handle this. And this is net contribution within the fiscal year, I should say. So if they donate like multiple things of several $1,000s, and we end up giving them receipts is really the big thing here, then we do need to fill out the Schedule B, just as like to be aware. Now, one of the other things that was noted is this 990 form is publicly accessible, so any names and addresses on there will be visible. So what they actually recommended, the lawyer was recommending, was do 2 different 990s, one that's officially submitted to the IRS and one that's kept for internal. Right now, we still publish most of this to the wiki page, so it'd still be public. But if we actually start doing and keeping private donation information, that is a thing to be aware of.
Relating to the
Oh, you go.
Oh, I was just gonna say, relating to the donations, I actually, Ethan knows because I talked to him about it, have one coming of receipts for Westmarch.
Yeah. All I was gonna say is, at least in my memory, the last donation that we had that was over $5,000 was in assets. It was like a forklift that was donated to a food bank during a food fight, like almost a decade ago now.
Yeah, but luckily that didn't go to Westmarch. That went to the food bank.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad I went to food fight as
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was the thing is like before this, because we were a not-for-profit as compared to a non-profit, the ways we had to handle donations were extra fun. But yeah, no, so like, yeah, we're getting this in. And various web pages I've noticed, just like keep an eye out. Just like a general recommendation for people. There are different web pages where you have to go to them and request that they go to the IRS and look to see if we're a nonprofit. So that could take a little bit of time. So if you're planning to donate through one of these various charities that are out and about, and get that donation to us, you may have to do a little bit of legwork, or let us know and then we can do the legwork. So, okay. Yeah. So that was that. Let's see. Then there are some other options that we can do. So the federal taxes, our fiscal year, we've set it up that it's December to December. So, and then we have like a 6-month window after that to file our taxes, which puts it as, middle of May. We just kind of typically keep it with the April deadline or sooner to make it easier. But if we ever need an extension, it's the Form 8868. Really, really actually do this on time, because the late fees for filing without reasonable cause is $20 a day, or up to $12,000, or 5% of the gross. It can get up there decently quick if failing to file. And then if we absolutely fail to file an annual return for 3 consecutive years, they will automatically revoke our tax exempt status. And this is not oh, hey, sorry, we're going to do it type thing. It's done by the system. It's not a human involved. And this isn't oh, we just have to go file it and fix it. This is we have to refile all the paperwork to become a 501c3 again. So definitely make sure we file our taxes. Yeah, and then there's other delinquency items talking about how we can be, you can look it up in various databases, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And we can be listed as delinquent, and then that could potentially lead to a suspension. And delinquent or suspended organizations are not allowed to receive charitable funds. So even just failing to file for 1 year, even though we may not be suspended, we will be listed as delinquent, and we will not be allowed to receive charitable funds. So, even though up here it says 3 years, it's really 1 year, and it's basically as soon as we get listed as delinquent, which could happen, days after failing to file type thing. So definitely file our taxes. The California taxes, it's a Form 199. They also have a 199N if you're, again, less than $50,000. There's also a 109 for unrelated business income that may apply to us, it sounded like, but at least being aware it exists. State taxes are due at the same time as federal taxes, very similar to the federal tax system. Um, all nonprofit, so leading to Milan's questions from earlier. So in California, we're required in all nonprofit public benefit corporations, which we now are, and other entities holding charitable assets must file taxes. The only exemptions are religious, educational institutions, and hospitals. We are none of those. So we must file taxes. The initial filing, the CT-1 must be filed within 30 days of the first receipt. So this is for us to become kind of the nonprofit, and we must attach our articles. I think we've actually done this part because we are listed as a organization. But this is what Royce and I have been handling with Milan in the background.
Yes.
Yep. And then a few other quick fun items. I'll just full screen this because that made it worse. Okay. So we have to do an ongoing renewal registration requirement. So there is a requirement that we update every 2 years our statement of information. And this statement of information every 2 years includes things like who's our CEO, who's our CFO, who's our secretary, what's our address. This is all done through BizFile. It's actually really easy. I was looking into it. And for us, it's mostly just confirming that nothing has kind of changed. Now, and it's $20 every 2 years to file that fee. However, you also need to update the statement of information anytime an officer changes. This is free to do. So you're allowed to do this as many times as you want. It's all free. You just have to have the right access on the BizFile webpage. But you must have the CEO, CFO, and the secretary are listed as the 3 officers. The secretary is the secretary of the board of directors. By default, according to California, the CEO is president of the board of directors and the CFO is also on the board of directors. However, our Capora says otherwise. We explicitly say that the CEO is the monarch and the CFO is the PM, which means every time the monarch and the PM change, we need to refile this paperwork. Or we need to update the Capora to not say that. One of the two.
Can we make it to where it's like president of the BoD? That way it's yearly, not twice yearly?
Well, that what I'm saying is that is a Capora thing to do that. We have to update the Capora if we want to change that. Because right now, it explicitly states in the Capora that
that the monarch is CEO.
Yes.
And the KPM is CFO. We actually have to do this form 4 times a year. Realistically,
as much as 4 times a year, yeah.
Well, actually as much as 5 times a year. But
yeah.
I wonder if we could make the monarch just be COO.
Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say is I don't care. I'll continue to be, if you want, I'll be the agent on there and I'll do it. It takes 5 minutes. I have the PIN number now to do it.
Yeah, I just, to me, this is a thing the board must do. They must assign somebody on the board to do this, and this would happen.
Well, it doesn't have to be somebody on the board, because when you have a corporation with California, you can have a agent with them. Currently, our agent on there is Milan.
So, sorry, what I was meaning is this is a audit thing that the board must check every time to make sure that our agent or the board is doing this. As I said, it's free, except for once every 2 years we have to spend $20, but it's free to do. It's just something that we have to, we need to do every basically January, May, August, and November. Unless the monarch does double terms or the PM does double terms. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the secretary, which hopefully happens around the same time as the January/February PM change.
Yeah.
As I said, not difficult at all. Takes 5 minutes, but we just need to make sure we do it. Yeah. So, Athena, I 100% agree, with what you wrote, but that requires changing Capora. That's all.
Of course, absolutely.
Also,
we would need to change the Capora. Just if we do change it, then I think that's a decent alternative.
Also, realistically, the treasurer generally under law can't be the CFO as well.
Well, darn.
It's double dipping. It's a double dip thing, and it's an ethics question. And Barnes Oxley causes
So
all
that's why
kinds of issues.
I pulled this specific screenshot right here from the BizFile online webpage. And this, unless the articles of incorporation or bylaw provide
Wow.
otherwise, if there's no CFO, the treasurer is the CFO of the corporation.
That's a big exemption for a lot of laws.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting that this was directly on the BizFile page because they were like, "Oh, here's a list of officers," and then there's like this little like question mark pop out, and this is what this was.
And that makes sense that it's directly on there because for a lot of things, like I said, the treasurer can't be the CFO because the CFO,
Yep,
in fashion, reports to the treasurer.
yeah,
That's really interesting. That's there.
yeah. I thought it was very interesting, and that's why I grabbed this exact screenshot because I'm like, "Hey, this is what they say on the BizFile page." Like, even if it's wrong, I guess like this, we have
Well, it's
plausibility.
not. It wouldn't be wrong so much as it would be an exception. And it
Yeah.
may be the simple fact because we're a public benefit corporation. And so the reporting requirements are slightly different.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
interesting.
Yep. And that's why it was like the CEO, it's like unless otherwise noted, it's the president. If there's no president, then it's the chairperson of the board. So it's just the head of the board of directors is the CEO, which again is also like that's not typically how that always is, but hey, whatever. Um yeah, and then that's right, it's like for public benefit or religious nonprofits, the CEO and secretary or the CFO slash treasurer may be the same person if authorized in the bylaws. So it's like
Well,
there you
that
go.
would be an update to our bylaws, not to our corpora.
Our corpora is our bylaws.
We have actual bylaws, not just the
Well,
corpora.
we do now, but we also have to update this part of the corpora.
It's on my to-do list. It's on my to-do list, Sebastian.
Yeah,
We'll talk about it later.
is your to-do list longer than my to-do list?
No, but I think you're going to approve of a lot of my to-do list.
Yeah.
Ethan, it's pretty easy to change the Kapora, right? Like not hard
Oh
at all.
yeah. You just file some stuff and you get some people to approve it.
Motion to close this topic before
People are
we
happy
get
with
into
it,
it
right?
again.
Yeah. Okay. So this was all I had really about this. There, just the ongoing filing form, the RRF1, which is due annually the 15th day of the 5th month after the close of the organization's accounting period, which just basically says do it in April, August timeframe, or April, May. And then you have to, this is where you attach your annual IRS tax returns and send it to the state. And the CTTR1, which is as part of the 990 from earlier, which is just a simple balance sheet and statement of revenues and expenses. So this is why we have to have our budgets so we can do our taxes and also have last year's budget. So we do have to submit balance sheets as part of the CTTR1.
Yes.
Okay, so that covers basically everything here. Oh, I don't remember what the name of that document was. No, a second ago. The statement of information. Okay. Any other
From
notes?
SOS. Statement of information from Secretary of State. That way when somebody looks at it later, they're like, oh yeah, this is where it's from.
Yeah. Okay. I'm good to be done with topic 8 unless somebody else wants. Nope. Perfect. Do we have any walk-on items? Anybody have anything else they want to talk about today? No, perfect. So now we will begin the most important discussion of the meeting, scheduling the next meeting. So of this, we just grab a red circle that I can play with. Are there?
Darkshore.
Yeah, obviously. So Darkshore, I'm not expecting to have their audit the next meeting because Darkshore has 45 days to fill that out. So that would be the meeting after this. in June. We just need to kind of schedule that 45, 50-ish days out. Would be nice. But as far as this, Darkshore is 8 through 11. So my recommendation is kind of go later in the month, 21, 28. I guess we could do the 14th, but we were all just seeing each other like 2 days before that. So
Do the meeting at Darkshore in person.
we could, if we could get everybody there.
I'm sure my stress level could survive for 5 minutes.
If we have it Saturday before court, Royce would still be the treasurer.
Yep, and you wouldn't have to attend.
Yeah, and you would be the alternate.
Yeah.
I guess. That's up to y'all. I'm more in favor of later in the month, but I don't have big input here.
I think later in the month. So I think, we've been typically doing Wednesdays or Thursdays, so 21, 28, 22, 29 of May. Let me double check. 21 does not work for me.
My stupid meeting that I have to go to for work is on the 14th, so it doesn't matter.
I can't do the 28th as I will be on a plane.
Okay.
22nd sounds good, but I'm old. I'd be treasurer at that time. Just kidding.
You'll become treasurer at that meeting.
True.
I'm okay with any of the listed options.
Yeah, give me 1 second and to check one more calendar just to make. I have too many calendars I have to check.
I just had to pick up my work phone and check my work phone calendar.
That's what I'm doing too. Which I of course had in a drawer in the other room, and I was like, oh dang it, I just put this away. I should be good for those dates. So 22, 29 sounds like it works for people. Sounds like people are leaning 22. 22. Perfect. 22, 6:30, same time, bat channel.
Yeah.
Anybody object?
Sounds good.
Cool.
Are we gonna have a meeting over in 1 hour? Are you kidding?
Yeah. I mean, wasn't the last one like 45 minutes?
The last one was pretty short too.
It was like an hour and 15.
I still think I ran out of my room and went and talked to my roommate and said that was the shortest BoD meeting I've ever been a part of.
Okay, well, we'll see if we can make this one shorter. Do we have any reason to continue this meeting?
Nope, motion to adjourn.
Perfect, done.
Seconded.
Just for the record's sake.
Yeah, now let me just go find the stop recording button. There it is.